What are magic words? They are words that talk straight towards the subconscious brain. Subconscious brain is powerful in the decision-making process. Why? Because it has a yes output and a no output. There is no maybe in the subconscious. People think that no is the enemy of yes in this business. It isn't. No isn't the enemy. Indecision is the enemy. I'd argue the greatest cost to most of your businesses right now is indecision. It's maybe. Think about all the people over the last 12 months that almost potentially, possibly thought about, considered making a move. If a handful more of those people could be heck yes or like hell no and know why, what difference would it make? It would make a massive difference. So if you can talk to the part of somebody's brain that is fundamentally more decisive, you can increase the rate of decision. If you can increase the rate of decision, you can increase the rate of action. And if you can increase the rate of action, you can increase the rate of transaction. It is that easy and is that hard. When I share some thoughts with you about this book, when I share some thoughts about the subconscious brain, some of you are probably wondering more about what the subconscious really is. So I'll give you a quick example of where it served you. Does anybody here remember like a familiar car journey where you remember getting into the vehicle in the morning and then you remember arriving at like the destination and you have no idea how you got here? That was the subconscious brain that took the drive. Don't worry, if anything unusual happened, conscious brain would grab the wheel, you'd be back in control in a nanosecond. Still confused about this subconscious brain? Please see it as nothing more than a little voice inside your head. That's it, just a little voice inside your head. And I know what some of you are thinking out there. You're thinking that you haven't got a little voice inside your head. I know. And I'm sorry to break it to you. That's the little voice telling you you haven't got a little voice. We all have one. Learning to speak to other people's is what could give you a fair advantage in almost any given conversational moment. Big, big difference here, right? So we understand what this subconscious brain is. I told you about this little book, but this little book is like you can read it cover to cover in 72 minutes. And I think it was Mark Twain that first said, is if I had more time, I'd have written a shorter letter. Brevity is challenging. Easy to be able to put more into a scenario. How's this book traveled the world? Because of all that we leave out. So I figured today I'd share with you something that will add to what you get from the book. It's something that we left out on purpose, but like an operating model to help you be more influential and persuasive at any given moment in any conversation. Would that be useful, yes or no? Okay. See, if you want to be more influential in any conversation, all you need is 3 critical ingredients. The first is one called curiosity. Behind that is one called empathy. Behind that is one called courage. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. There's like 3 words there, Phil. There's nothing there that's that new, nothing that's that important. What's the big idea? What's the big idea? So why is that such a big idea? Well, let's take that curiosity piece for a second. Ever found yourself stepping into a conversation where somebody is so sure of themselves, so certain of their point of view, has such a strong belief system that the more sure they are of themselves, the less sure you become about them? It's kind of ironic that high levels of certainty create high levels of uncertainty in other people. If certainty is what you're looking to be able to create in somebody else's circumstances, you can't show up with an I know best mentality. Answer me this question with a loud, proud yes or no. Is now a good time to buy a house, yes or no?
Yes.
Is now a good time to sell a house, yes or no?
Yes.
Stop it, all of you, please, now. Because that's the wrong answer. The real answer is, it depends. That's the real answer, is it depends. And the fact that we are showing up and throwing up, that now's a great time to be able to move and you're all doing it together at the exact same time, means that people cannot trust you. The real answer is it depends. I'm going to share with you a little embarrassing story. There was a period of time in my life about a year or so ago where I find myself being the advice monster. And you ever been in a situation, particularly look to dads in the room, like my 17-year-old daughter at the time came to me for advice. At least that's what I thought she came to me for. And what came out of my mouth were the words, "When I was in your shoes." So I mouthed those words, looked down at her feet, and went, dang, there's not been a day in my life that I've worn footwear that resembled that. I was the least qualified person in that moment in time to be able to deliver any advice on that matter, the least qualified person. So what I do is I zipped up. I got strategically curious for a short period of time, like 22 minutes. And at the end of it, she said, I think I know what I want to do, Dad. And she figured it out all by herself. She figured it out all by herself. And the result of which is she chose to do about the exact same thing I would have advised her to do, about the exact same thing, all by herself. Here's a challenge. Who in this room is an expert? See, nobody wants to admit to these things now, right? In the medical industry, they say prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Same is true in your business. Prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. I know in every conversation you would like to insert your content about your brilliance, content about how many homes you've sold, content about the market, content about what's unique in your listing presentation, content about all the fantastic things you've done for people in the past. But if you insert your content before you've earned the other person's context, all you did is you made a noisy situation noisier, harder for people to navigate. When you're curious for long enough, it dances us towards this position of empathy. And empathy is like a buzzword right now. People are confusing it with sympathy. I'll make it really easy for you. The best definition I've ever heard for the word empathy comes from a speaker, author friend of mine by the name of John Acuff. And John Acuff defines empathy as to care about what the people you care about. I can't do better than that. I can't do better. See, our goal is to be relatable. That's what our goal is to be relatable. There's a button that exists inside the mind of every decision maker on the planet. And there's a button I've learned to call the show me that you know me button. The second you trigger the show me that you know me button, no longer is it you versus them. It's you and them versus it. Here's a very practical thing that every one of you can start doing as early as tomorrow. Would you like to be able to remove the least influential word on the planet from your vocabulary? Would you like to do that? So the least influential word in the planet is the word I. Now go to your last 100 sent emails and text messages. I was hoping, I was looking, I think, I believe. As an industry, all of you show up and throw up in your own interest over other people every day. And we wonder why people don't like it. If you can swap your I's for U's, you're insanely more valuable. I'm going to share with you something else, and this is just a pet peeve of mine, and please do this, is ban some words from your vocabulary. As an entire industry, can we please stop circling back? I mean, what on earth does that even mean? And while we're at it, can we stop following people up? They're freaking creepy, right? I'm just following up. Like if somebody was just following up a loved one of yours, you'd call the cops. Here's my favorite of all. This one definitely needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. I need you to own this as an industry. Please, please, pretty please stop touching people's bases. It's inappropriate. We have to change the conversation to be at pro level. And if you sound like everybody else, you get treated like everybody else. And what do people want to pay everybody? They want to pay everybody less. You, my friends, are looking to achieve more, which means we have to play at pro level. We're not touching base and following up and checking in. We're not, I was just. We're showing up with purpose and poise on behalf of other people. Do you know that nobody wants to buy a house? You know that? You know that approximately 0 people want to buy a house. None. Also, 0 people would like to sell a house. You know that? People want to buy a house because. People want to sell a house because. If you do not know with complete clarity the because, you are not that useful. If you do not know with complete clarity the because, you are not that useful. I'd argue that for most of you, that you think you're doing a great job by your clients by following them up and checking in and touching their base, and you're like, it's all good. I got them in my CRM. They're on my drip campaign. And you drip all over them. They're freaking soaking. That's how wet they are. And what you're doing is you're just sharing more and more information that proves your irrelevance. We have to stop it. See, if somebody was looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home under $1 million in like October of last year, and they didn't buy one after you showed them 37, what are they almost certainly not looking for? That! They're looking for something different and you don't know. As an industry, you've worked 30, 60, 90-day pipelines. Stop it. Start working 30, 60, 90-month pipelines. It's one of the biggest changes you can make. People know what they're thinking about possibly doing at some point in time, 4, 5, 6 years on from now. And the trouble is you don't know. So you wait till there's the 30, 60, 90-day window. They invite themselves into conversation with you and everybody else, and you're now having to win the "my dad's better than your dad" argument. Get to them earlier. Marketplace of one. Conversation changes.